This came with the impellers, and it specifies that these impellers will fit both pumps. Now you have a second pump, which was a later version, which is number 10360. All right, now there it is. There's the two numbers that match both numbers. And the only difference between this pump and a 360 is that I have a 360 here to show you the difference, in case you want to use it as a reference point. But the only difference between these pumps are this outlet here and this outlet here. These are water passages that you can hook up a tube that go to the generator. Now, I think one is going to the generator. In the back of the generator there's a jacket that's used for cooling, and these are the outlets and the inlets. Now one goes in, of course, and the other one recirculates out of the generator, goes back into the pump, and cools, or it can go into the manifold. So I don't really know exactly how those things are put up, but this is the one. This is the 360 pump, I believe. Yes. All right. As you can see, this is the there's a number there. 360. I don't know if you can see it clearly. Anyway, that is that's going to be sold on the internet. The secondary pump I have is identical to this one, which is the 95 pump. All right. Getting back to the problem here, the major kit consists of a shaft, which is, this is the old shaft that I removed out of the old pump. The shaft comes completely assembled with the coupling on the bottom and the bearing. So there's not too much to install on the shaft itself other than to slide it back into the housing. Now, if you want to put a seal, the seal fits in this part of the housing here, right here. This is where the seal fits. Now, if you want to take and remove the seal and replace it, you have to take the shaft out, and unless you pull the rear drive coupling off, you're going to have to take the keys out. Now the keys are in the shaft here, and I'll show you on the old one. Here are the keys, and this of course is the old impeller. There are the keys right there on the shaft. You have one for each impeller. Then you have a separator disc, which acts, I would imagine it acts as an equalizer and also for anti-chafing of the impellers. It's a separator. These pumps are basically two pumps in one. Each impeller pumps one side of the engine on a V8. So if one breaks, I would recommend changing both impellers like I did over here. And luckily we did make it back safely without any, without overheating it. But it was only a matter of time at an idle or a slow movement that it would have started to overheat. And like I said, the major kit consists of all these parts plus a seal, which I've already installed in the other pump, and the gaskets. Now this is just the wrapping of the impeller packaging. If you want to buy an impeller, this is the impeller. There it is, right there. There's the kit, the number 10077K, which fits both pumps, the 95 and the 360. So there's no difference between impellers. The only thing is that in removing, if you have to remove the shaft out of the pump and you have to take the keys out, in order to take those keys out, and I'm going to show you what I had to do. I don't know if you can see this, but that key has, I had to drill little tiny holes in the key in order to collapse it and to wedge it out of the keyway itself. So in order to get that out of the slot, you have to, unless you have a specialized tool to remove it, those keys are almost impossible to remove. Now when you put them in, when you reinstall the keys, you have to make sure that they're parallel with the shaft. So now here's an example when the key is not parallel. You cannot get the impeller on. So I'll show you what happens. As you can see, well, this is just an example of what I'm talking about. Now that key is not straight. So I made this key. This is a homemade key, and it's a little on a loose side, but all you have to do is just put a burr on it to hold it in position. And once it's installed straight, parallel to the shaft, then you should have no trouble sliding the impeller on. It's not a difficult thing to do, but it's a mandatory thing to do. And there it is, and it slides right on real nice and easy. Now with that, of course, you get a gasket, and the other gasket, which is, they give you an additional set of gaskets. These gaskets do not belong to this pump. This gasket belongs to a different pump, so you don't have to install that. This gasket, of course, is for the cover here. That goes there. And other than that, I mean, it's a pretty simple situation. All you do is put that in. Oh, another thing that comes with the major kit is the bushing that fits in the cover. Now, this bushing here inside is pressed in, and it's I didn't change the bushing because I didn't feel it necessary. I mean, as long as the shaft is not really scored in any way. Now, this shaft is actually wet. It gets wet when the pump is running, so you will get water in that bushing, so it acts as a lubricant. The other bearing is a sealed bearing, which is inside the housing. That stays dry. Of course, there's a seal in here, and it keeps this dry. So after that's all explained, this is a separator that goes. I also installed a new impeller in here already. As you can see, the impeller is in there, and that separator. Oh, by the way, you have a cam in it. That cam allows for priming. It keeps the flow of water. Basically, acts as a director for the water flow. So it acts as a pickup for the water with the impeller blades. So don't it's just part of the installation. Another thing too is if you have to clean, which I cleaned the inside of the pump. As you see, this pump is pretty clean, but there's a screw there, right there. That screw takes the cam out. Now, when you put that cam back in, what I did was I put the cap back on, and I put the whole housing back onto the bearing housing. This way, that cam is installed properly, because you don't want that thing sticking out over the surface of the housing. So it doesn't have to be done that way, but that's the way I did it. This way I know that the cam is flush. There's no chance of leakage. Now this has you can see the bottom is slotted to allow for the cam clearance, and it just basically lays in there like that. Nothing special. Then you put your next impeller goes over the top of that, and when you put the impellers in, this one is bent, and you can see that the impeller blades will probably slide right in there. But when you get the new impeller, you're going to have to collapse. You're going to have to collapse the blades, and also make sure that when you put the impeller in, you put it with the blades bent towards the way that it turns. Now, in my case, this turns, looking at it from here, it turns clockwise. And as you see now, you don't want to put, when you put the new impeller in, make sure that when you put it in, you spin it into that thing. I put a little bit of a silicone lubricant in there, and it helps the blades go in. And once you get it aligned, it'll go right into the shaft. So it's not difficult. But the main thing is that once you assemble this pump, do not turn it backwards. In other words, do not reverse rotation on it, because you may damage the impeller blades. Now, I'm not saying that you will, definitely, but there's a chance that you can. So with those blades, they cost anywhere from $30 up to as high as I don't know what the highest amount that they would charge you for them, but they're expensive. So be careful how you treat them. Once they're installed, that's it. You put your gasket on, you put the cover on, and you're back in business. So that should give you a general idea of the operation of the pump. And like I say, these are pretty efficient pumps. And make sure all the passages are clean. And like this one has a little bit of a residue left in it. I don't know. It's probably part of the I don't know. But anyway. Make sure that everything is, clean. Yeah. There's a little thing in here. I don't know what that is, but whatever it is, I'm sure it does not belong. Make sure all the passages are clean, and that's about it. Good luck with your installation, and work carefully and clean. That's it. Goodbye.